Hi, this is Whitney with PolicyPak Software, and in this video we're going to learn how to create, export, and deploy real group policy through the cloud to a non-domain joined machine using PolicyPak's cloud solution. We'll deploy admin templates, we'll deploy group policy preferences, and we'll deploy security settings. So why don't we start off by looking at the admin templates? So we're going to start off by creating a group policy object. We're just going to call this Cloud Demo, and I'm going to edit this. Now, please note that I am not creating this in any particular OU. We are only using the GPO for the sake of being able to export out of it, so it doesn't have to be attached to any particular OU. Now, let me make this a little bit bigger. So to start off with, we're talking about admin templates, and everybody knows what those are. So let's go look at what they look like on the group policy side, on the side you usually would look at. So you've got your tree that you're used to seeing. You've got, say, control panel settings. You'll see these ones, and then you have more folders you can get into. We can look at personalization. All of this is stuff you're familiar with. However, there's no way to deploy this through the cloud to a non-domain joined machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the PolicyPak node, and we're going to go to the Admin Templates Manager. Now, here you could start by adding a new collection that would then contain multiple policies, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and create one policy. So let's go look at the New Policy area. We'll click Add New Policy here. And when it pops open, we're actually highlighted on Control Panel right now, and you're going to notice that we see all the same things, and that's because it is the same thing. We're still looking in the same place that your GPMC looks to get the policies that exist now. So it's looking for the same ADMX files that you would have in your normal admin templates area. So you see, all right, we have those same ones. We looked at, say, personalization, and we see all of this just as before. So this is the same ADMX files that you are used to seeing. So in this case, I am going to create a policy to kill the control panel. So I double clicked on that, and I'm going to choose enabled. I'm going to tell it OK. And then it's going to ask me to continue adding policies, which in the real world I might actually be doing. But in this case, we're just going to do the one. So now I'm going to go ahead and close this out. We have prohibit access to the control panel enabled, and that's great. Now, how do we get this out of the Admin Templates Manager area and into the cloud? Well, we're going to start by exporting. So we're going to right-click on this. We're going to choose Export as XML, and then I'm just going to throw this right on the desktop, and I'm just going to call this Kill Control Panel. All right, and if I move this over a little bit, there we go. We have that XML file called Kill Control Panel. Now, before we go uploading that or doing anything with the cloud, let's go ahead and create a couple of more policies to export. So we want to do some preferences, and we want to do some security settings. So let's go over to the computer side, and let's look at preferences. And I'm going to deploy a shortcut. So let me go ahead and create this shortcut. I am going to send it, it's just going to be PolicyPak support. I want it to be a URL, and I want it to sit on the desktop. So let me just put that URL in there, and we'll go ahead and, since it's a help icon, let's go ahead and look at that. Whoops, let me finish. That's what I wanted. So, all right. All right, now I've created this shortcut here. And again, how are we going to get the preferences out of preferences? Because we're actually doing this in the standard group policy area. Well, what we'll do now is go to the PolicyPak node, go to Preference Manager, and we'll show Wizard. And this just lets you know we're not creating any new items here. We're actually exporting out of the preferences that we just created. So I'm going to click Next. And there we go. There's my shortcut, PolicyPak support. We'll click Next once again. And if we want, we can change the name by double-clicking right here. I'm happy with the name as is, so I'll go ahead and click Next here as well. It wants to know where I should export that to, so I'm going to do that right on the desktop again. Tell it OK, and go Next. And it tells us right here that it's successfully been exported to this, but we can also see visually right here. It's right there. Now, finally, we've done our admin templates. We've gotten preferences exported. Now we want to do a security setting. So we'll pop over here. We'll create a security setting. I am just going to rename the guest account. So you got to drill down just a little bit to get to here. We'll go to local policies, security options, and we want to rename the guest account. And I'm just going to name it something innocuous. I'm just going to call it PP guest account. All right, and we'll add that. And once again, we're still in the group policy area, so we want to switch back over to PolicyPak, and we're going to do the same thing to export this that we did with the preferences. We'll go to the Security Settings Manager section. We'll choose Show Wizard once again. Now, please note here, this lets us know there are 4 policy types that are not supported, but the rest of them are. So we'll click Next here. It found my security policy, so it tells us that it is exportable. We're going to include it in the export. We'll go Next. Here we could actually add item level targeting if we wanted to, where you could have a particular policy hit a particular set of, say, users or operating systems or IP address ranges or things like that. But we're not going to get into that today. We're just going to go ahead and export as it is. So we'll click Next. Again, we have to decide where we want to put this. This time we're going to name it, so we're going to call it Rename Guest Account. And we'll click Save. It doesn't exist. Yes, we do want to create that. Once again, we'll hit Next. And once again, it tells us, and once again, we can see that we've done this. So now we have all this XML. What are we going to do with it? Well, let's go ahead and we'll go over to the PolicyPak website. I'm already logged in right here to the PolicyPak Cloud portal. And what I want to do, I'm going to go over here to the XML Data Files tab. And I'm going to choose to upload the XML data file. Now, you'll note I already have some XML files in here already. This area is just essentially the swimming pool. So these directives, or they're corresponded GPOs, but these directives aren't necessarily linked to any particular machine or computer group or any company group or anything like that. Just be aware of that. So we're going to go ahead and upload our data file, and we'll just start from the bottom and work our way up. So shortcuts is a fine description as far as I'm concerned right now. So we'll go ahead and add that. And we'll do the same with the other 2 files we created as well. Rename guest account. That one is just security manager. Why don't we add rename guest account to that so that we'll remember what it is we're looking at. All right. Whoops, throw another E in there. Add that. And finally, we'll put the kill the control panel on there. And this one's not as descriptive as I want, so I'm going to call it kill control panel. And we'll add that. And there we have it. We've uploaded our 3 directives as we want to. Now, in order to get them to apply to any particular machine, we're going to need to go over to the computer groups area, and I have one computer in the all groups, and I have that same computer in East Sales. And what I'll need to do is I need to link those XML data files to my East Sales company group, which corresponds to your OU structure. Now, before I do that, I want to go over to my endpoint really quick, and I want to point out that first of all, that this machine is actually not domain joined, and prior to receiving these directives, I don't see a PolicyPak support icon right here. If I look at my local group policy editor, if I look at my guest account is currently called guest, and if I try to get to the control panel, then I still have full access to it. So now let's go back over to our management station. And let's link those XML data files to my company group here. So I'm going to choose Link XML here. And I'm going to choose those 3 that we just uploaded. So let's add those 3. And boom, done. Now we're going to go back over to our endpoint. And usually this would happen in 60 minutes. That's how often the background refresh happens for the PolicyPak Cloud. But for the sake of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and run this immediately. So it's pp cloud/sync. And this not only syncs with the cloud immediately, but it also lets us know what policies we're receiving on this machine. So we see that under preferences, we're receiving the one shortcut, and then there's a second one, which, whoops, there it goes, just popped up right there. We know that we received the kill control panel one, and we also, let's find it, we have the rename guest account. So we can see clearly that we received the shortcut. We can assume that we can get to control panel anymore. Let's see what happens when we click that. Nope, there we go, just like we expected to see. And finally, let me close this out. Let me rerun this. And now that this is popped open, let's drill our way down to find that the name of that guest account. So look at local policy, security options, and there we go. We have PP guest account. So that's how we just delivered real group policy through the cloud to a non-domain joined machine. We used PolicyPak's Admin Templates Manager to kill the control panel. We used the Preferences Manager to get the shortcut up there in the corner. And we used the security setting to change the name of the guest account. So that's pretty magical. If that's interesting to you, and if you're not on PolicyPak yet, go ahead and give us a call and we'll be happy to get you started with a free trial right away. Thanks.